I'm happy to welcome Sue Smith. She is one of our candidates for the Peters Township School Board. Sue, I'd like to start with a question about you. What strengths do you bring to the role of school director?
Thank you very much, and thanks the League for inviting me to this interview. My strengths, I believe, are my background. I was an elementary education major in college, graduated with a bachelor's, taught school for 6 years, and then went on and got an MBA and worked in business. So I think I have a very good combination of skills, knowing something about teaching in the school systems and also something about business, which is a very important aspect of being a school board member.
Especially in a time of tight budgets?
Absolutely, in a time of tight budgets. Important decisions need to be made, and I think one of the most important things that school district, school board members need to do is to be fiscally responsible, and that is something that I clearly believe I have done, and I hope people will take the opportunity to look at my record and see how I have voted on some of the monies that we have spent.
Okay. What are your priorities as a school board member?
My priorities in the 5 years I've been on the board and also going forth is always number one, education. I think sometimes some board members have forgotten that we are a school district, and the number one reason we're here is to educate the students, which I believe means focus on academics. There's no question in my mind that extracurricular activities provide excitement and passion and interest to the kids, whether they work in the TV studio or they play on the football team or everything in between. That is something that makes school come alive to them. But I think it's really important for us to help the students and their families understand that past high school, there's college, past college, there's the workforce, and you need to study hard so that you can think forward to what you're going to do after school.
Do you have any particular concerns at this time about the direction of the school board or about any other issue?
No, I would not say it's a concern. I would say it's a great hope. I'm thrilled with our new superintendent so far. I think she has made wonderful moves. She's brought in a new person. We have one position left in the district central office to hire, and I think Dr. French is doing a great job of building a collaborative, cooperative team of people who are ready to move us forward.
Yeah. One of the particular concerns of the League of Women Voters is public participation in the political process at all levels, including at the local level and in school districts. What do you think? Do you think the school board is the appropriate place for the public to bring their concerns? And if so, does the school board, would you as a school board member appreciate hearing concerns from the public?
Absolutely, but it's a multifaceted answer. Number one, many times people believe they need to come to our third Monday of the month voting meeting to express their concerns about a particular issue. And they are certainly welcome to do that. But the major work of the school board happens at all the committee meetings. So we have education committee, buildings and grounds, we have policy, we have finance, and that's when it's a more informal situation and people are really encouraged to come to attend to focus on whatever aspect that they're interested in. We also have a history of attempting to bring the public in we have several years ago, we had something called the vision committees, and the word went out, and this is the one key piece that I'm not sure if there isn't a way for us to improve on. The communication to the community at large. The district has many email lists, and so email would be blasted out to everybody on the list saying, we are looking for people, say we're working on health and safety. If your position, your profession, you have some information, some help to us, please come and do that. Or if we're working on curriculum that has to do with science, if you're a scientist, if you're a mathematician, please, if you have time to volunteer to help us with the committee, we look for that, we encourage that, and we really appreciate that input. The one question I have been thinking about is, are we reaching out beyond our email lists? How do we get to
That
people
would be
who
my
are
question.
not on the email
Many
list?
people are not on the email list and don't want to receive lots of emails from the school district.
Right.
How do they know when the meeting would
Well,
be held?
all of our regular committee meetings, which is education, finance, policy, buildings and grounds, those are all on our website. If you go to the website and you look on the bar on the right-hand side, there's something that says school board. And if you click on that, then you get a drop-down menu and you can look for the meetings. It says meetings and it's updated, I think, as soon as the board chooses a date for a meeting. So you can look for it there. They're also posted at the buildings, but I know a lot of people don't want to drive to the building to see. So I think the website is probably the...
What about the topics? How would you know what the agenda was? Is that a public document?
The agenda is published the afternoon of the meeting. So I know, and this is something...
That's a little tight.
This is something that people have requested in the past. And I guess that's something I can bring back to the superintendent and the rest of the board and say, okay, if it's a large meeting, like our voting meeting, sometimes things are in flux right up until the end, whereas if it's something like the buildings and grounds or education, sometimes those agendas are really finished, long before the afternoon of the meeting. So that's a good point. I will bring that back.
Some community members have expressed a concern to me that there's not a great deal of public information about the long-range planning that the district does. And so there's no real, and by the time the information is out, things have already been pretty much cast in concrete. And they wondered if there's a way to find out when that is going to be discussed at the beginning level.
Well, we have the comprehensive plan, which the state has sort of changed the name. It used to be the strategic plan, and now it's comprehensive plan. And we are moving forward at that. And interestingly enough, you should ask, fortunately, I'm not sure this will be broadcast before that, but there is a meeting at the end of September, the September 30th. The Education Committee meetings, the administration will be talking about that. But there is information on the comprehensive plan on the website, and if somebody is really interested in getting involved early on, they can always call the district offices and ask to speak to the assistant superintendent, Dr. Carden-Bickus, or asked to speak to the superintendent, and even one of the secretaries, I'm sure, who answers the phone may be able to point them in the right direction to get some of the information and get involved if they really want to volunteer on that.
Okay, good. I'd like to touch a different topic that you already introduced by saying your priority is the education of students. How do you approach funding decisions for athletics?
Me personally, or the board as a whole?
Well, maybe you personally.
Well, I guess I have to go back to some of the votes that were taken on upgrading the fields. The field that was done up at Pleasant Valley School, and also the new turf at the high school. When the PV field was first the board was first approached, I said, well, yes, clearly, it's either hard as cement when there's no rain and it's a mud field when there is. I can understand the need for a turf up there so that it's usable on a regular basis. But what happened that started off as, oh, we're just going to put down turf, morphed into, and we need all the bells and whistles and a very expensive scoreboard and a concession stand and bathroom, and all of a sudden it became a very expensive project that I eventually voted against because I thought that we were not spending the money wisely.
So, in other words, you look at the project in terms of the overall cost and now
and the need. I think one
hold
thing.
on just a second.
Sorry.
I want to move on to your final question since our time is running out. And I want to give you an opportunity to tell the voters why they should vote for you.
Okay. First of all, I think one of my major strengths is that I have great attention to detail. If you have ever watched any of the school board meetings, you see that I am often the one asking detailed questions about policy, which is one of our important functions. I'm also very hardworking. I spend a lot of time in working on the projects, reading all the information that we get from the superintendent. So I ask you for your vote because I have always attempted to represent all of the constituents in this town, not just friends of mine.
Thank you very much.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you for speaking with us and speaking to the voters
Thank you
about
for
your
the
candidacy.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you.